The envelope had no return address, no postage stamp, no name, just my address, handwritten in careful letters, sitting on my doorstep like it had materialized from thin air. Inside was a cashier's check for $47,000 and a note that would change everything I thought I knew about kindness, karma, and the invisible threads that connect our lives. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This story starts 5 years ago, on the worst day of my life, the day I gave away my last $20. I'm standing in my kitchen right now, holding that envelope, the same one that appeared 3 days ago, the one I still can't explain. My daughter Sophie is asleep in the next room. She doesn't know yet that we're saved, that the surgery she needs, the one I couldn't afford, the one that was scheduled to be canceled tomorrow, can happen. She doesn't know that a stranger became our angel, or maybe not a stranger at all. Before I tell you what happened, before I show you how an act of kindness I'd completely forgotten about came back to save my daughter's life, I need to know something. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your city in the comments, your state, because this story happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But I'm telling you, it could happen anywhere. It could happen to you. My name is Maya Rodriguez. I'm 38 years old. I'm a home healthcare aide, single mother to an 11-year-old daughter with a rare autoimmune disorder. And 3 years ago, my ex-husband walked out on us. Not because of the divorce, we'd already separated. He left because Sophie got sick, because the medical bills started piling up, because loving us became too expensive, too complicated, too inconvenient for his new life. But that's not the story I'm telling today. Today, I'm telling you about the woman at the bus stop. November 2019, 5 years ago, I was coming home from my shift at the hospital. It was snowing, that heavy, wet Minneapolis snow that soaks through your coat. I had $23 in my wallet, my last $23 until payday, which was still 3 days away. I was planning what I could make for dinner. Pasta, probably. We had pasta, some canned tomatoes. That would get us through. The bus was late. I was cold, exhausted. That's when I saw her, a woman huddled at the other end of the bus shelter, maybe in her late 30s, early 40s, hard to tell. The street had aged her. Her shoes were held together with duct tape. Her coat was thin, summer weight, completely inadequate. She wasn't asking for anything, wasn't holding a sign, just sitting there, trying to disappear. And I thought about my Sophie, warm at home with my neighbor Patty, safe. This woman had no one. I walked over. "Excuse me?" She looked up, scared at first, then resigned. "I don't have much," I said, "but there's a shelter 3 blocks that way. They serve dinner until 8. And here." I pulled out my 20, left the 3 ones for bus fare home. "Get something warm, please." She stared at that $20 bill like it was a miracle. "I can't," she said. "You can, please. It's freezing tonight." She took it with shaking hands, tears in her eyes. "God bless you. You don't know what this means." I smiled. "Stay safe." The bus came, I got on, and I forgot about her. Life moved forward. Sophie got diagnosed 6 months later. The medical bills started. The divorce finalized. My ex-husband remarried someone wealthy and stopped returning my calls. I forgot about that $20. I forgot about that woman. Until 3 days ago, when the envelope appeared and everything changed.
Let me tell you about rock bottom. It's not what you think. Rock bottom isn't one big catastrophic moment. It's 1,000 small failures piling up until you can't breathe. It's your daughter saying, "Mom, don't worry about my birthday. I don't need a party this year." She's 11. Every kid deserves a birthday party. It's working double shifts and still coming home to final notices, red letters, threatening phone calls. It's checking your bank account and seeing $23.47 and knowing that has to cover groceries, gas, and Sophie's medications until Friday. It's calling your ex-husband, the man who promised to love you forever, and listening to his new wife's voice in the background while he explains why he can't help with medical bills. Sophie's not my responsibility anymore, Maya. You got the house in the divorce. I gave you what I could. The house? A two-bedroom apartment in a building where the heat barely works. That's what I got. He got his freedom. Sophie's autoimmune disorder is called ITP, immune thrombocytopenia. Her body attacks its own platelets. Most kids respond to steroids, standard treatment. Sophie didn't. She needed specialized care, infusions, medications that cost thousands per dose. Our insurance covered some, not enough. The bills accumulated like snowdrifts: $12,000, $28,000, $45,000. And then Dr. Lancaster called me into her office. Maya, we need to talk about the splenectomy. Sophie needed her spleen removed. It was creating the antibodies destroying her platelets. It's not emergency surgery yet, but it will be. And when it becomes emergency, the outcomes are much worse. How much? Dr. Lancaster looked at her computer screen. Her face said everything. With your insurance, your out-of-pocket will be approximately $47,000. The room tilted. I don't have $47,000. I don't have $4,000. I know. I'm going to write to the hospital's charity care program. We'll apply for every assistance program available. 6 weeks later, we got the rejections. All of them. We made too much for assistance, not enough to actually pay. That sweet spot where America decides you're on your own. I picked up extra shifts, worked 70 hours a week, barely saw Sophie. Patty, my neighbor, watched her after school, wouldn't take payment. Honey, I've got nothing but time and love to give. Sophie's a joy. I applied for loans, denied. My credit was destroyed from previous medical debt. I started a GoFundMe. It raised $3,200. Amazing, humbling, not nearly enough. I called Marcus again, my ex-husband. Please, she's your daughter. She needs this surgery. Maya, I've got a new family now. My wife and I are trying to have a baby. We have our own expenses. Sophie is your baby. He hung up. I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot and screamed until my throat hurt. Then I dried my eyes, went inside, held my daughter's hand while they ran more tests. Mom, Sophie's voice was small. Am I going to be okay? Of course, baby, of course you are. I was lying. The surgery was scheduled for March 15th, pending payment arrangements. On February 28th, I got the call. Mrs. Rodriguez, we haven't received confirmation of payment. Without a deposit of at least $20,000, we'll need to reschedule. Reschedule? Like it was a haircut, not my daughter's life. How long can we wait? Her platelet counts are borderline. I wouldn't recommend waiting more than 3 months. 3 months to find $20,000. I started selling things. My wedding ring from my first marriage before Marcus got $400. My grandmother's necklace got $200. Sophie's birthday was March 3rd. We had cupcakes. Patty brought them. I couldn't afford a cake. Sophie smiled, blew out her candles, made a wish. Later, she told me what she wished for. I wished for you to not be sad anymore, Mommy. That's when I broke. Completely. Absolutely broke. That was March 10th. March 13th, the envelope appeared, and everything I thought I knew about the world shifted. I almost stepped on it. The envelope, plain manila, sitting on my doorstep like someone had placed it there while I slept. It was 6:47 a.m. I was heading to my early shift. Sophie was still sleeping. I picked it up. No postage, no return address, just my name and address in careful handwriting. My first thought, this is a mistake. My second thought, this is a scam. I almost threw it away. Something stopped me. I went back inside, sat at the kitchen table, the same table where medical bills were stacked like a paper mountain. The envelope wasn't sealed, just a clasp. I opened it. Inside, a cashier's check from U.S. Bank, paid to the order of Maya Rodriguez. Amount $47,000. My hands started shaking so hard I almost dropped it. $47,000, the exact amount to the dollar, and a note, handwritten on plain white paper. Dear Maya, 5 years ago, you gave me your last $20 at a bus stop. You didn't know me. You didn't ask why I needed it. You just gave. That $20 bought me dinner at the shelter. At the shelter, I met a social worker who got me into a program. That program changed my life. I've been looking for you for 2 years. I finally found you. You saved me once. Now it's my turn. The surgery your daughter needs, this covers it. Every penny. You don't owe me anything. You never did. But if you want to repay this, here's how. When you can, when you're stable, help someone else, the way you helped me. The universe keeps track, I promise you that. With eternal gratitude, a friend you made one cold November night. I read it 3 times, 4 times, 5. The words wouldn't process. This couldn't be real. People don't do this. They don't track down strangers and give them $50,000 because of a $20 bill from 5 years ago. I checked the check again. It looked legitimate. Watermarks, security features, but it could still be fake. A cruel joke. I called the bank, the number on the check. U.S. Bank, how can I help you? I need to verify a cashier's check. I gave them the number, held my breath. Yes, ma'am, that check is valid. Issued yesterday. Funds are available. My vision blurred. Are you sure? Positive. Would you like to deposit it? I couldn't speak. The woman on the phone waited. Ma'am, are you there? I'm here. Who purchased this check? I'm sorry, I can't release that information. Please, I need to know who sent this. I need to thank them. The purchase was made with cash, no name attached to the transaction beyond the payee. That's you. Anonymous. Completely anonymous. Is there anything else I can help you with? No, thank you. Thank you so much. I hung up, sat there staring at the check. $47,000 from a stranger I helped 5 years ago. A stranger I didn't remember. A stranger whose face I couldn't picture. But she remembered me. She remembered my kindness, my $20, the moment I didn't think twice about. And she'd spent 2 years finding me, 2 years tracking down the woman from the bus stop so she could save my daughter's life. Sophie's door opened. She shuffled out in her pajamas, pale but smiling. Morning, Mama. I looked at my daughter, my beautiful, sick, brave daughter, then at the check, then at the note. Baby, sit down. I need to tell you something. What's wrong? Fear crossed her face. She was used to bad news. Nothing's wrong. For the first time in a long time, everything is right. I showed her the check. Your surgery is happening. We're going to make you better. Sophie stared at the numbers. Where did you get this? An angel, I whispered. An angel I didn't know I was helping. And then we both cried. Not sad tears, the other kind, the kind that come when hope returns from the dead. I needed to find her. I know the note said I didn't owe her anything. I know she wanted to stay anonymous. But you don't understand. Someone just saved my daughter's life. I had to know who. I had to thank them. I had to look them in the eye and tell them what this meant. I deposited the check that morning, paid the hospital immediately. Dr. Lancaster called me 3 hours later. Maya, I just got confirmation of payment. How did you... It's a long story. When can we schedule Sophie's surgery? Next week, March 20th. I'll start the pre-op process today. Next week. My baby would be okay. But I couldn't let this go. I started with the obvious, called U.S. Bank again, different representative. I need information about a cashier's check purchased on March 12th. I can verify the check, but I can't provide purchaser information. What if I filed a police report? What if this was fraud? Is it fraud? No, but then I can't help you. Privacy regulations. Dead end. I went back to the bus stop, the same one from 5 years ago. It looked different in March than it had in November. No snow now, just dirty slush and cigarette butts. I stood there like an idiot, hoping, what? That she'd appear? A man waiting for the bus looked at me funny. You okay, lady? 5 years ago, was there a homeless woman who used to stay here, late 30s, dark hair? He shrugged. Lots of homeless people. They come and go. Another dead end. I went to the shelter, the one I directed her to that night. Excuse me, I'm looking for someone who might have stayed here in November 2019. A woman, probably late 30s. The intake worker shook her head before I finished. Ma'am, we see hundreds of people. We don't keep records beyond 6 months for privacy reasons. But she said she met a social worker here, someone who got her into a program. We have 6 social workers. They work with dozens of clients every week. She saw my face. I'm sorry, I wish I could help. Brick wall after brick wall. That weekend, I went to the police station. Felt ridiculous walking in. Detective Murphy listened to my story, the whole thing. The bus stop, the $20, the envelope, the check. He leaned back in his chair. This is the strangest thing I've heard all week, and I heard some strange things. Can you help me find her? Mrs. Rodriguez, she doesn't want to be found. She made that clear. I just want to say thank you. He looked at me for a long moment. You know what? Let me see what I can do. No promises. 3 days later, he called. I ran the handwriting through our database. No matches. She's not in the system, which is good for her. I checked with social services. They can't give me client names, but they confirmed they did have a successful placement in late 2019, matching that timeframe. And that's where the trail ends. The woman who helped her, she left that agency in 2020, moved to Oregon. I called her, she remembers the case but can't give me details, HIPAA laws. My hope deflated. So that's it? Not quite. She did tell me something off the record. I waited. She said the woman from your story, the one you helped, she turned her entire life around, got clean, got housing, got a job. And about 2 years ago, she started asking questions, trying to find someone. Someone who helped her at a bus stop. Exactly. What's her name? I can't tell you that, but she did tell me one more thing. This woman, she said she'd been blessed by an angel, and she was going to find that angel if it took her rest of her life. My throat tightened. I'm not an angel. I just gave her $20. To you, it was $20. To her, it was everything. Detective Murphy smiled. Sometimes we save people without even knowing it. I thanked him, hung up, and realized something profound. I was never going to find her. She didn't want to be found. She wanted to be a mystery, a miracle, just like she'd been for me. Sophie's surgery was scheduled for March 20th. Pre-op was March 18th. That's when something else happened. We were in Dr. Lancaster's office going over final details when her assistant knocked. Dr. Lancaster, there's a package for Sophie Rodriguez at the front desk. I frowned. A package? I'll grab it, the assistant said. She returned with a medium-sized box, wrapped in bright yellow paper, a card attached. To Sophie, feel better soon. No name, again. Sophie's eyes lit up. Can I open it? Let me check it first, baby. I opened the card. Different handwriting than the first note, but the message made my heart stop. Sophie, I heard you like to draw. These are for you. When you get better, create something beautiful. The world needs your art. A friend. Inside the box, professional art supplies, Prismacolor pencils, watercolors, sketchbooks, canvases, hundreds of dollars worth of supplies. Sophie gasped. Mom, this is everything I wanted. Dr. Lancaster looked at the supplies, then at me. Maya, what's going on? I told her everything. The bus stop, the envelope, the check. She listened in silence.
When I finished, she was crying. In 20 years of medicine, I've never heard anything like this. I can't find her. I've tried everything. Dr. Lancaster smiled. Maybe you're not supposed to find her. Maybe the point is to accept the gift and pass it forward. Pass it forward. Those words stayed with me. Sophie's surgery was successful. 4 hours. Dr. Lancaster called me into the recovery room. She did beautifully. Her body's already responding. Platelet counts are rising. I held Sophie's hand while she woke up, groggy but smiling. Did I do good, Mama? You did perfect, baby. So perfect. Recovery was 2 weeks. Patty brought us meals every day, refused to let me pay her back. Maya, honey, when my husband died, your family brought us food for a month. You don't remember because you were working double shifts, but I remember. I never knew that. Because you help people without keeping score. That's who you are. I thought about that, about all the times I'd helped without remembering. Was that why this happened? Because I gave without expecting anything back? Or was it simpler? Was it just one woman remembering one kindness? 3 weeks after the surgery, I got another envelope, same handwriting as the first. This one had a newspaper clipping inside from the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, dated 2 weeks ago. Local business owner expands nonprofit program. The photo showed a woman, professional clothes, confident smile, and I recognized her. Not from the bus stop, I still couldn't remember her face from that night, but from something else, something in her eyes, a depth that comes from surviving. The article talked about Elena Vasquez, owner of Summit Cleaning Services, 50 employees, $3 million in annual revenue, and a nonprofit, Second Chances MN, helping homeless women get back on their feet. The article mentioned her story. Homeless in 2019, turned her life around, now giving back. I was helped when I had nothing. Now I help others the same way, she was quoted. I stared at that photo for an hour. Elena Vasquez. That was her name. The woman from the bus stop. The woman who saved my daughter. Attached to the clipping was another note. Maya, I know you've been looking for me. I appreciate that, but I need you to understand something. What you did for me wasn't about repayment. It was about human kindness. What I did for you was the same. We're even now, more than even. But there's one more thing you can do. Help someone else when you can, when you're ready. That's how this works. That's how we change the world, one $20 bill at a time. With love, Elena. I looked at that note, at her name, at her photo, and I finally understood. This wasn't about karma, not really. It was about ripples. I threw a stone into a pond 5 years ago. The ripples came back, and now it was my turn to throw another stone, to create more ripples, to keep the circle going. Sophie recovered completely. By May, her platelet counts were normal, stable, the kind of numbers Dr. Lancaster called miraculous. I've never seen such a complete turnaround, she said. This is what we hoped for but rarely see. My baby was going to be okay. For the first time in 3 years, I could breathe. But something had changed in me. I couldn't go back to just existing, just surviving, just getting through each day. Elena's words haunted me, in the best way. Help someone else, when you can, when you're ready. I started small. There's a woman in my building, single mom, 2 kids, works at Target overnight. I'd see her sometimes, exhausted, struggling with grocery bags. One day in June, I knocked on her door. Hey, I'm Maya, 3B. I was wondering if you ever need someone to watch your kids while you sleep. I work day shift. I'm home in the afternoons. She stared at me like I'd offered her $1 million. I couldn't ask you to do that. You didn't ask. I'm offering. I remember what it's like. When my daughter was sick, my neighbor Patty watched her, saved my life. She started crying right there in the hallway. I haven't slept more than 4 hours straight in 6 months. Then it settled. Bring them over tomorrow. Her name was Jasmine. Her kids were 6 and 8. Sweet, energetic. Sophie loved having them around. It cost me nothing, but it gave Jasmine her sanity back. How can I ever repay you? She asked one afternoon.
You can't, but someday, when you're stable, help someone else who's struggling. That's how this works. I saw understanding dawn in her eyes. In July, I started volunteering at the shelter, the same one Elena went to 5 years ago. I served meals on Tuesday nights. Sophie came with me when she felt strong enough. One Tuesday, a woman came through the line. Young, maybe 25, pregnant. She looked terrified. I remembered that feeling, being scared and alone. After dinner, I approached her. "Hi, I'm Maya. If you need help finding services, I know some people." She broke down. "I don't know what to do. I don't have anywhere to go." I called a social worker I'd met, got her into emergency housing, connected her with prenatal care. 2 weeks later, she sent me a letter. "You saved my baby's life. I'll never forget you." I kept that letter, put it next to Elena's note. Reminders of the circle, the ripples. In August, I got a promotion at work. Not much, but enough to breathe a little easier. I took my first 20 from that paycheck, went to the same bus stop, the same one where this all started. Waited. An older man was sitting there, shaking, clearly homeless. "Excuse me, sir, are you hungry?" He looked at me with watery eyes. "I haven't eaten since yesterday." I gave him the 20. "There's a shelter 3 blocks that way. They serve dinner until 8. He took the money like it was sacred. "God bless you, ma'am." I smiled. Someone blessed me once. I'm just passing it forward. That became my routine. Every payday, $20. Different people, same kindness. Some nights, Sophie came with me. "Why do we do this, Mama?" she asked one evening. "Because someone helped us when we needed it most. And someday, maybe one of these people will help someone else." Like a chain? Exactly like a chain. A chain of kindness. Sophie thought about that. I want to do it too when I get my allowance. My 11-year-old daughter, already understanding what some people never learn, that giving doesn't make you poorer. It makes you richer. In September, I got another envelope. No money this time, just a photo. Alina standing in front of her nonprofit office, 10 women with her, all smiling. On the back, she'd written, "6 of these women were helped because you helped me. The ripples continue. Thank you for starting them." I put that photo on my refrigerator, looked at it every morning, and remembered, one act of kindness. That's all it takes. One act to change everything. Thanksgiving week. I got a call from an unknown number. "Maya, this is Elena." My breath caught. "Elena?" "I know I said I wanted to stay anonymous, but Dr. Wells told me she visited you, and I thought maybe it's time we actually met. I'd love that. I've wanted to thank you." "Please don't. I'm the one who should thank you." We agreed to meet at a coffee shop the following Saturday. I was nervous, more nervous than I'd been in years. I got there early, ordered tea I couldn't drink. Then she walked in. I recognized her immediately, not from the bus stop, from the newspaper photo. But seeing her in person was different. She had the same eyes, warm, deep, carrying stories. She saw me, smiled, walked over. "Maya! Elena!" We stood there for a moment, then she hugged me, and we both started crying, right there in the middle of Starbucks, 2 women sobbing, other customers pretending not to notice. We sat, talked for 3 hours. She told me everything, the abuse that led to her homelessness, the addiction, the desperation. That night at the bus stop, I was planning to use the last of my money for drugs. One more hit. Then I was going to walk into traffic. My hand flew to my mouth. I'd given up completely. I didn't see a way forward. Then you appeared, out of nowhere, and you gave me $20. But it wasn't about the money. It was the way you looked at me. She wiped her eyes. You looked at me like I was human, like I mattered. You told me to stay safe, like you actually cared if I lived or died. That broke something in me, broke through the despair. I went to the shelter, I ate, I was warm, and Dr. Wells was there. She smiled. The rest you know. I told her my story about Sophie's illness, the divorce, the crushing debt. When I got your check, I couldn't believe it was real. It felt like a miracle. It was the easiest check I've ever written, Elena said. I spent 2 years looking for you. Every day I thought about you, about that moment of kindness. I built my business thinking, when I'm successful enough, I'm going to find her. I'm going to help her the way she helped me. When I finally found you, when I learned about Sophie, it felt like everything had led to that moment. She leaned forward. Do you believe in destiny, Maya? I didn't. Before all this, I would have said no. And now? I thought about it. All the coincidences, the threads, the impossible timing. Now I think maybe we're all connected in ways we can't see. And kindness strengthens those connections. Elena nodded. That's exactly what I think. She pulled out her phone, showed me photos of her nonprofit. These women, every single one of them, they're here because you gave me $20. I just gave you $20. You did the rest. But I wouldn't be here to do the rest if you hadn't given me that $20. That's the point. She showed me more photos, women with jobs, in apartments, with their kids. 16 women have graduated our program. 16 women who are now stable, have homes, have hope. One of them just started her own business. Another is in nursing school. My eyes filled. Elena, that's incredible. It's because of you. All of it traces back to you. We talked until the coffee shop closed, made plans to have dinner with our families. As we left, Elena took my hand. Maya, I need you to understand something. You didn't just save my life that night. You saved all these lives, the women in my program, their children, the people they'll go on to help. Your $20 created a wave, and that wave is still spreading. I thought about Sophie's web, all those connected threads. Elena was right. One act of kindness, one moment of seeing someone's humanity, that's all it took to change the world. October brought something I didn't expect. A visitor. I was making dinner when Patty knocked on my door. Maya, honey, there's someone here to see you. My heart jumped. Elena? No, someone else. She says it's important. A woman stood in the hallway, mid-50s, professional clothes, kind eyes. Maya Rodriguez? I'm Dr. Catherine Wells. I was the social worker at the shelter, the one who helped Elena. I invited her in, made tea. My hands trembled. How did you find me? Elena gave me your address. She thought we should meet. Sophie was doing homework at the table. Dr. Wells smiled at her. You must be Sophie. Elena told me about you. I'm so glad you're healthy. Thank you, Sophie said politely. Dr. Wells turned to me. I wanted to tell you something about that night 5 years ago. I leaned forward. Elena came into the shelter November 7th, 2019. She'd been on the streets for 8 months, using, desperate. That $20 you gave her, she used it exactly the way you suggested. Bought dinner at the shelter, sat in the warm room. I was working that night. I saw her, and I saw something in her eyes, a spark, like she wanted to try again. Dr. Wells' voice got quiet. But here's what you don't know, what Elena doesn't even know. I waited. That night, I was supposed to be off. It was my anniversary. My husband had dinner reservations, but our overnight worker called in sick. I was the only one who could cover. I almost said no, almost went to dinner. She looked at me directly. If I hadn't been there that night, Elena would have walked out after eating, gone back to the streets. But I was there. I talked to her, got her into our program. My skin prickled. So you're saying... I'm saying that your kindness got her to the shelter, but something else got me to the shelter that same night. Call it coincidence, call it fate, call it God. I don't know what it was. But that's not the only strange thing. She pulled out a folder. After Elena got stable, she started trying to find you. She remembered it was a bus stop near the hospital. She remembered you had dark hair, that you were kind, but she didn't know your name, didn't have a photo. She spent a year searching, asking around, nothing. Then one day, she's at a coffee shop, completely different neighborhood, and she overhears two women talking. My stomach flipped. One woman is complaining about her ex-husband, about medical bills, about a daughter named Sophie who needs surgery. The other woman says your name, Maya Rodriguez. Elena almost dropped her coffee. The odds of overhearing that conversation in that specific coffee shop on that specific day? Dr. Wells shook her head. Astronomical. She followed the women out, asked them how they knew you. Turns out one of them worked at the hospital, in billing. That's how she found you. That's how she knew about Sophie's surgery. That's how she knew the exact amount you needed. I sat back, stunned. What are the chances? I whispered. Exactly, Dr. Wells smiled. What are the chances that you helped her that specific night, that I was there to help her, that 2 years later she overheard a conversation about you in a random coffee shop? Sophie looked up from her homework. Maybe it's not chance. Dr. Wells and I both looked at her. Maybe it's like a web, all connected, and when you help someone, it pulls a thread, and that thread connects to other threads. She went back to her homework like she'd just explained gravity. Dr. Wells laughed softly. Out of the mouths of babes. She stood to leave. At the door, she paused. Maya, I've been a social worker for 30 years. I've seen a lot of things, but this is different. There's something at work here, something bigger than coincidence. Whatever it is, thank you for starting it. After she left, I sat in the quiet apartment, looking at Sophie, at the photos on my fridge, at the invisible web connecting us all, and I wondered, how many other threads were out there? How many other connections we couldn't see? Christmas Eve, Elena invited us to her nonprofit's holiday dinner. Sophie and I arrived to find 50 people, women from the program, their children, volunteers. Dr. Wells was there. Even Detective Murphy showed up. Elena stood at the front of the room. Thank you all for coming. For those who don't know me, my name is Elena Vasquez. 5 years ago, I was homeless, addicted, hopeless. She looked directly at me. And then a stranger showed me kindness, simple kindness, $20 and a gentle word. That kindness saved my life, led me here, led me to all of you. But tonight, I want to tell you something I just learned, something that changed how I see everything. She nodded to Dr. Wells. Dr. Wells stood. 3 weeks ago, I was going through old files, cleaning out storage. I found Elena's intake form from November 2019, and I found something else, a note I'd written to myself that night. She held up a piece of paper. This note says, almost didn't come to work tonight, John's anniversary dinner, but something told me I needed to be here. I completely forgotten I wrote that, but seeing it again reminded me. She looked at the room. I almost missed the night I met Elena, almost wasn't there. But something, I don't know what, something told me I needed to work that shift. Elena took over. And that's not all. Remember I told you about overhearing the conversation, the one that led me to Maya? She looked at a woman in the back. Rachel, will you stand up? A woman in her 30s stood, professional clothes, confident smile. This is Rachel Okonjo. She was one of the women talking that day, one of the women I overheard. Rachel spoke. I work in hospital billing. I was having coffee with my friend Sarah, complaining about the system, about how we have to deny care to people who desperately need it. I was talking about Maya's case, about how unfair it was. I had no idea anyone was listening, had no idea that conversation would lead to anything. Elena smiled. But here's what I learned last week. Rachel, why were you at that specific coffee shop that day? Rachel shook her head, amazed. I never go to that coffee shop. It's across town from where I work. But that day, my car broke down. I had to take the bus. That coffee shop was near the bus stop. If my car hadn't broken down, I wouldn't have been there. The room was silent, everyone processing. Elena continued, "So let's trace this. Maya gives me $20, but only because she's at that bus stop. Why was she at that bus stop?" I stood up, voice shaking. "Because I missed my regular bus. Because I stayed late at work that day to cover someone's shift." Elena nodded. "And Dr. Wells was at the shelter because her coworker called in sick. And I overheard Rachel because her car broke down. And Maya needed help because Sophie got sick." She paused. Let that sink in. Does anyone else see the pattern? All these seemingly random events, all these coincidences, all perfectly timed to connect us. Sophie raised her hand. My brave daughter. "It's the web," she said quietly. "Everything's connected. We just don't always see the threads." Elena walked over to Sophie, knelt. "You're absolutely right. Everything is connected, and every act of kindness strengthens those connections, makes the web stronger." She stood, addressed the room. "Tonight, I want to propose something. Every person in this room, whether you've been helped or are here to help, I want you to commit to one act of kindness in the next month. One intentional act. It doesn't have to be money. It can be time, attention, a listening ear. But do it, and then watch what happens. Watch how it ripples. Watch how it connects." She looked at me. "Maya started this with $20. Look where we are now. Imagine what we could do with 50 acts of kindness, or 100, or 1,000. Around the room, people were nodding, crying, understanding. We weren't just people in a room, we were proof that kindness creates ripples, proof that we're all connected, proof that what we give comes back. Not always how we expect, but it comes back. It's been 1 year since the envelope appeared on my doorstep. 1 year since my life changed. Let me tell you where we are now. Sophie is thriving, healthy, happy. Her platelet counts are perfect. She's back to being a normal 12-year-old, drawing, writing, dreaming. She started an art program at the shelter, teaching kids to draw every Saturday. My baby is paying it forward at 12 years old. Elena's nonprofit, it's expanded. They're now helping 30 women. Next year, they're opening a second location. Dr. Wells retired, but volunteers there twice a week. Rachel from hospital billing, she left her job, now works for a patient advocacy organization, fighting the system that tried to deny Sophie's surgery. Detective Murphy sends me a Christmas card every year, says my story restored his faith in humanity. Jasmine, my neighbor, got a promotion, saved enough for a down payment on a small house. But before she moved, she introduced me to another struggling mom in the building. "Help her the way you helped me," she said. The ripples continue. As for me, I'm still a home healthcare aide, still drive the same old car, still live in the same apartment. But everything is different because I see the web now, the connections, the threads that bind us all. Last month, I was at the bus stop, my bus stop, where this all started. A young woman was there, crying, holding an eviction notice. I sat down next to her. "Are you okay?" She looked at me with the same desperate eyes I'd seen in Elena 5 years ago. "I don't know what to do. I have 2 kids. I just lost my job. We're going to be homeless." I thought about $20, about how much it can mean, but I didn't give her $20. I gave her Elena's number. "Call this woman, tell her Maya sent you. She has a program, she can help." The woman stared at the number like it was a lifeline, because it was. 3 weeks later, Elena called me. "Maya, the woman you sent, she's in our program now. She's going to be okay." I asked her how she could thank you. I told her the same thing I told you. Help someone else. Keep the circle going. That's what this is about. Not karma, not coincidence. Connection. Human connection. The invisible threads that bind us all. So here we are, you and me. End of this journey. I need to know, has this story changed how you see kindness? Do you believe in the web, in the ripples? Drop a comment and tell me. Share your own story. Have you experienced something like this? And where are you watching from? What city? What state? Are you the person who needs help right now, or are you the person who can give it? Because both are important, both matter. Let's build something here, a community of people who understand that every act of kindness matters, that no gesture is too small, that we're all connected in ways we can't see. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button right now because we're sharing more stories like this, stories about the invisible threads, the unexpected connections, the miracles that happen when we choose kindness. Like this video if it touched you. Share it with someone who needs hope, someone who's struggling, someone who's forgotten that good things can still happen. And here's my challenge to you. This week, do one intentional act of kindness. It doesn't have to be money. It can be time, attention, a kind word to someone who looks like they need it. Do it without expecting anything back. Do it anonymously if you can. Then watch what happens. Watch for the ripples. Because here's what I learned from Elena, from Sophie, from everyone in this story. We're not separate. We're not alone. We're all part of this beautiful, mysterious, interconnected web. And every time we choose kindness, we strengthen that web. We create ripples that spread farther than we can imagine. We become part of something bigger than ourselves. This is Maya Rodriguez, still giving $20 to strangers, still believing in miracles, still seeing the web, still proving every single day that kindness comes back. Not always how you expect, but it comes back. Now go out there and create some ripples. The world is waiting, and someone out there needs your kindness today. Be their miracle, and trust that someday someone will be yours.